We just need to be told the truth, and we're not told the truth. With the kind of incinerators that are being built across the country, incinerators like this one, they're not there to just solve a problem. They're there to create privately funded profit. And that's where my problem lies.
Waste is a challenge, and our whole consumption society drives us to buy more and more and more things, and we chuck things away. So there's a fundamental problem with that socio-economic system that needs to be sorted. My name's Adrian Sporrell. I moved to Bedford for personal reasons, but one of the things that caught my attention really soon after moving was the whole protest and their campaign to try and stop the incinerator. So there are three things that really worry me about this incinerator. Let's start off excluding the incinerator itself. Incinerators need to be fed. There's not enough natural waste around the area. That means they have to import waste. So for a starter, we get 600 lorry movements a day. So that's your base level of pollution before you even put any waste into the incinerator. Obviously then with the incinerator itself, you're going to get carbon and nitrous offshoot gases that come out. So you're going to be adding to the global warming with both of those pollutants. And then the other aspect with the exhaust is the particulates, especially the P2.5, the small particulates. And those small pieces of metal then get put out into the air as very, very small particles. You breathe them in. Because they're so small, they cross the lining of the lungs and they get into your bloodstream, and then they lodge in various parts of the body, and it will increase the risk of serious harm to the population locally as well as the environment.
You've got to put aside the economic arguments and you've got to look at the environmental issues. But it seems that all those arguments, which are very sound and very logical, are completely ignored in the interest of making money. And okay, it's being built. That doesn't mean it has to go into operation.
Incineration and the expansion of incineration as a way of dealing with the nation's waste is ill-judged, to say the least. Some of the particulates that come out of the stack of an incinerator, they are so tiny you can't actually measure them. So all the things they say about monitoring, it's just not true. They're not actually capable of monitoring some of the things that come out of here.
The Environmental Agency testing regime requires them to self-test, and they self-test against the mass of particulates per cubic volume of air. And the particulates that do the damage are the really small ones, P2.5. And of course, because they're small, they're light. So you can actually put quite a large volume of the most dangerous particulates out before you actually breach the Environmental Agency guidelines. If you're running a commercial business, the temptation is there. We'll just test when we know it's safe. What's the case for incineration? Unfortunately, incineration is treated as recycling. So for governments, if they want to hit a recycling target, they can just whack up an incinerator and just go, big tick, look, aren't we a great green government? They often then give contracts out to commercial businesses like Covanta with the incinerator, who are then obviously driven by that profit motive as well.
We don't want you here!
I can't see how a profitable organisation like this can in any way be deemed as being green. This is going to draw in hundreds of thousands of tonnes of waste a year to burn to make money. That's the primary purpose, and a facility like this should not be built on that basis.
We don't want you here! Smoke off Covanta! We don't want you here!
Waste into energy, it sounds like it's a perfect solution. To build an incinerator is not a cheap process. Once you fire them up, you have to keep them fed. And what that means is the demand for waste goes up, and you actually get waste that could be reused actually just being burned. And we get into a really, really negative spiral of a system that comes to depend on creating more waste. It's difficult for us here in Bedford because the planning permission's been given, the licence to operate has been given. That doesn't mean we can't stop lobbying and stop fighting. write to your MPs, write to the local council and continue to put pressure on them to do everything they can to stop it from being lit. There's just so many other things that we could do without having a large polluting plant to burn waste that we should not be creating in the first place.